All right, this topic is factoring when our A is not 1. So this first page here just shows you the factoring methods, and we've already covered the GCF when A is 1 and the difference of two squareds. So this topic will be when A is not 1. What we do is we use the diamond and box method. So I'm going to review a little bit of setting up that diamond, and then I'm going to show you how we could adjust it to using also a box. So this first page is a little bit of a fill in the blank. So to factor trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, to set up the diamond, the AC is going to be on the top, and B is going to be on the bottom. Then you fill in the box like the example below. The empty squares are the numbers on the sides. Of the diamond that add to the BX term. Once you set up the box, factor each row and column using the GCF. And then again, the box setup is going to be your side and your side. So let's go ahead and do an example. So we have a quadratic equation or expression, and this one, the A is going to be 1. So I'm going to start off with a simpler one because they're going to get harder when the A is not 1. So we first identify the A, B, and C in the quadratic. Then we set up our diamond. So the top of the diamond is going to be your AC, so 1 times 6 is 6. The bottom of the diamond is going to be your B, which is 5. So then we think, what are factors of positive 6 that add to 5? So if you can do this in your head, that's great. If not, write it down. So the factors of 6 that add to 5. So positive 2 times positive 3 is positive 6. When I add those two numbers together, I get 5. So these two numbers are going to be the sides of my diamond. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up my box. So in a previous example, we factored this quickly with x plus 2, x plus 3. What I'm going to do is set up this box to show you, because this is going to lead into when our A is not 1. So the first box in the upper left-hand corner is going to be your x squared term. The bottom right of your box is going to be your C term, 6. Then the sides of your diamond with the variable x are going to be the other two. So positive 2x, positive 3x. And you can put those two green numbers either or in that. And now what we do is we take out the greatest common factors, the GCFs, of each of the rows and columns. So let's start with this first row. What is the GCF of x squared and 3x? Well, that is x. Then we go to the second row. What is the GCF of 2x and 6? Well, that is positive 2. Then we go to the first column. What's the GCF of x squared and 2x? Well, that is x. Then we go to the second column. What's the GCF of 3x and 6? That's positive 3. If you look at those black terms and you multiply them back together, you're going to end up with the green and pink terms. So now what's outside the boxes are your factors. X plus 2, x plus 3. Notice we get the same thing as down here. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. So we identify the now equation, because we're going to be doing the zero product property, so we're going to factor it. So we identify the expression x squared minus 4x plus 4. So we identify the a, b, and c. So the a is 1, the b is -4, and the c is +4. Then we set up our diamond. The top of the diamond is our AC. The bottom of our diamond is our B. And then we say, what are the factors of AC? So the factors of 4 that add to -4. And those numbers are -2 times -2. When I add them together, I get -4. So these will be the sides of my diamond. -2, -2. Now I'm going to set up the box. So the first term is going to be your x squared term. The bottom right is going to be your constant, c. Then the sides of the diamond are going to be your last two terms with the x. Now we take out the GCFs of each of the rows and columns. So let's start with this first row. What is the GCF, the greatest common factor of x squared and -2x? And that's x. Go to the second row. What is the GCF of -2x and 4? That is -2. Now you have to be a little bit careful now because you have two different terms. One's a positive and one's a negative. Now we go to the first column, the GCF of x squared and -2x. I'm going to choose that to be an x. Then I'm going to go to the second column, the factors of GCF of -2x and +4. -2. So let's check this. So let's multiply x times x, x squared. X times -2, -2x. X times -2, -2x. -2 times -2, +4. So now what's outside the boxes are our factors. X minus 2, x minus 2. Now we're going to find the zeros of the function using our zero product property. So we set it as an equation. So equal to. Now we set those factors equal to 0 and solve for x. So x minus 2 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. And then we solve them. Add 2 to both sides. X equals 2. Notice you're going to get the same answer there. So we call this a repeated 0. All right, let's do one more. This one, the equation is not in standard form. So before we set up our diamond and box, we have to move that 24 to the left side. So we're going to add 24 to both sides. So we get minus 11x. And then we add 24 to both sides. And now it's in standard form. So our A is 1, our B is -11, and our C is 24. Now we can set up the diamond. The top of the diamond is our AC, so 1 times 24 is 24. The bottom of the diamond is our B, -11. Now we're looking for what are the factors of 24 that add to -11. 8 times 3, when I add them together, I get +11. -8 times -3, when I add those together, I get -11. So these will be the sides of my diamond. -8, -3. Now we set up our box. The upper left-hand corner is going to be your x squared. The bottom right is going to be your constant, 24. The sides of the diamond are going to be your x terms. Now we go ahead and take out the greatest common factors of each of the rows and columns. So this first row, the greatest common factor of those two terms is x. Go to the second row. The greatest common factor of the second row could be a +8 or a -8. I'm going to take out a -8. Then I go to the first column, the GCF, x. Second row, or second column, I'm going to take out a -3. Now you do want to check, multiply your red terms together and see that you get the 4 terms inside the boxes. Now that you've done that, what's outside the boxes are your 2 binomials. We're going to use the zero product property, set the factors equal to 0, and solve for x. So x minus 3 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0. And then we solve them by undoing. So we'll add 3 to both sides. So x equals 3. Add 8 to both sides. So x equals 8. So the two zeros of the equation are 3 and 8.